Oh, we are very, very cloudy. We need to get something to actually clean this. It's really dirty, isn't it? Oh, let me go and get a tea towel. Stay right there. That's not good, is it? That's not very well prepared. I'm prepared now. Don't worry. Oh gosh, and now I've lost you. Where are you? You're back. Let us. Oh, that's better. There you are. You look so much better. So, my name is Anne-Marie Wickham. I'm a positivity clinical hypnotherapist and I'm also a confidence coach. And every Sunday and Monday I come on here live and usually I have a guest with me for the Ultimate Confidence Show, which is always fantastic because they talk about how they use their ultimate confidence and inner strength to overcome their obstacles and maybe the things that have been difficult for them. But tonight I'm here by myself. And I'm here by myself because it's been a really personally challenging week for me. And only challenging in as much as I wonder if you recognise how we seek out comfort. We seek out to be in comfort and feel comfortable. But that actually comfort is a place of minimised stress and not having to think too hard, not having to feel too much, which is fantastic, isn't it? It is fantastic. However, it also limits excitement, it limits uncertainty, it limits growth, and it limits many other symptoms that we associate with living. And I don't know about you, but if I had the choice of being uncomfortable for a while until I was able to reach a paradigm shift where I shift myself upwards and realise, and I suppose that's the question that I would ask, how does one know whether you have actually experienced a shift? Now, at this point, I suppose I could actually bring some people on, couldn't I? Where is everybody this evening? It's Sunday, it's 7 p.m. I've sent out my invitations, and yet nobody has come to join us. That's very, very interesting. So, my very challenging week. Let's call it a challenge. Because challenges are things to be overcome. So we'll call it a challenge. Well, earlier on this week, I have to say, I've been feeling a little bit sensitive myself this week. Because earlier on this week, I actually did a Facebook Live. And I have to say, it was the most vulnerable and emotional Facebook Lives that I've ever done. And I wasn't expecting to feel so emotional, but I did, because I was raw and I was honest about my feelings. And I think you know why they call it fake book. They don't call it fake book for no reason. It's because, Facebook is the platform where everybody sees the very best of what's happening in your life. They see the edited moments of your life, I suppose, and no one knows what happens behind closed doors. And that's never a true saying. No one knows what happens behind closed doors. But everybody has those moments where they feel uncertain, where they feel challenged, and where they have a deal breaker. And the deal breaker is usually, do I stay where I am and do what I've always done? Or do I do something different and embrace the challenge and not know where it's going to lead, but hope that it's going to lead to somewhere where I want to be, because I don't want to be where I am? That is what a deal breaker is. And you could almost say that a deal breaker is actually a challenge. So do forgive me, I'm just sending out some invites. I thought I'd done all of this before, but maybe I haven't. So just bear with me, because you're so very, very polite. And these are people that I know. I only surround myself with brave, confident people who are ready to challenge themselves constantly to get the results they want out of their life. Right, okay. So, the challenge. Do you choose comfort or do you choose change? And more often than not, when we become weary, we choose comfort because we understand comfort and we know comfort. And change is an unknown place. Inevitably, change usually signifies that you're ready. Because if you feel uncomfortable in your own skin, if you feel that you're having the same conversations, if you feel that you're not moving forward, it's because you're ready for change. And when you're ready for change, life will more often than not deliver you exactly what you want. It will deliver you the challenge or the change that you need. That's not to say that when we get it, we're not always in a position or ready to accept it. But I have, over the last month, changed beyond my own comprehension. Good morning, Alexa. Good morning. Gosh, it's been a very long day, hasn't it? That wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weather we had yesterday. Then all of a sudden we had this climate change, and we've all adjusted, and all of a sudden it's dark very early and we're straight into winter, but that's okay. So Alexa, I was just talking about, you know, when you get offered the choice of comfort or change, and more often than not, we choose comfort because comfort is a place that we know. Comfort is a place where we know what the end product is. And comfort is a place that we can deal with because we have all the tools to deal with comfort. Many times we're not equipped with the tools to deal with change because we don't know what's on the other side of change. And that's why we gravitate towards comfort. But what I can tell you is what is on the other side of comfort. When you do change, it is always for the best, because if you are experiencing something that you've never experienced before, then just by default, you're going to be better off because you've already learned something different. You've learned something new. And whether that change was good or bad, you still have an experience that you can use as a transferable skill for any other situation. So change is always good. It may be difficult going through the transition of change, but it's not about what the change is. It's about who you become in the process of going through that change. And this week, myself going through a massive change. And you know, change comes about when all of a sudden you feel incongruent with the life that you're living. You feel incongruent with what's been said around you, what you're hearing, how you're responding. And you just know in yourself, it's time for a change. And you can ignore that little voice, because that little voice is your intuition. That little voice is your inner conscience saying to you, and it nudges you, and you can ignore it and you can ignore it and you can ignore it, but it doesn't go away. And I even believe that if you choose to ignore that little voice, it can actually make you ill. And I do believe, and this is just my own personal opinion. Good evening, Faye. So nice to see you this evening, Faye. I know that you're going to agree with this. I think if you ignore those voices that are telling you that you're ready for change, then it can actually lead to illness. And we know that from, I don't know, if you smoke too much, you eventually become ill in one way or another, whether it's emphysema, whether it's cancer, whether it's shortness of breath, whether it's not being able to enjoy things as much as possible. That is your body telling you, you need to change. This is not good for you. And it doesn't matter what you do that's not good for you. Your body will tell you in some way or another. So we were just talking, Faye, about change and how you may not always be ready for change, but change is always ready for you. And you have always got the skills. Imagine by the time you're even 5 years old, you've already been through at least 3 really big transitions, and you're only a baby. So you've got the transition of going from nursery to primary school. You've got the transition of going from the house, from being with mummy at home, to nursery. That's huge. Lots of children can't cope with that. Good evening, Sarah. So you've got from being with mummy all the time, and then you're going straight to nursery, and there's all these different people that you don't know, and you have to adapt to them. And then you go from the nursery when you've got used to being around other people, and they're being really nice to you, and they're helping you with your shoes, and they're helping you with your coat and your bags. Then all of a sudden, whoosh, you're swept off to school, and all of that loving support and care changes. So that's 3 massive transitions by the age of 5. So by the time you get to 35, you've been through a huge amount of changes, so you are more than capable of change. But I think as you get older, you get more tired of change, because we have to go through so many changes involuntarily. But you have to. You move from job to job, you get married, you have to adjust to this, you have to adjust to that. And change can be challenging. So if you're a person that doesn't deal with change very well because you haven't been nurtured through change, and it is about being nurtured through change to be able to take change full on. If you haven't been in an environment where you've done that, your parents haven't moved around a lot, maybe you've lived in the same house, maybe you lived with your parents in the same house all of your life, and then you went away and you got married, and then you stayed with your partner all of your life. So when you get to the point of where you're thinking, oh God, I feel there's more to life than this, but actually the challenge of accepting that challenge is really huge, because you haven't had many opportunities to do that. Whereas if you're a person that, mum and dad have moved around a lot, you've had lots of different relationships, you've had lots of different jobs, you're already used to change, so you're able to embrace it more. And for me, change, I'm going to be honest with you, change is challenging, because that growth, every time you have a paradigm shift, and if you don't know what a paradigm shift is, it's when you live your life a certain way and then you do something to change it in such a drastic way that your whole ethos about everything changes. And when your whole ethos changes, you have to do some mourning. It's almost like a funeral. And what I mean by that is you have to say goodbye to the person that you used to be. When you got married, you had to say goodbye to the person you used to be before marriage. When you left your parents' home, you had to say goodbye to your meals on the table, your washing being done, bit of extra pocket money when you needed it. If you didn't make your wages go all the way around, then you was always doing. That's a really drastic change. And when you have to move to another environment and say goodbye to that, that can be really, really challenging. And this week, I've gone through such magnificent growth in myself. It's been really emotional. And I have to say, if you see the Facebook Live that I did the other day, when I actually couldn't even hold myself back, I was speaking to the public, and I did have to have a little cry, because I realised that I'm growing at such a rapid rate that it's paradigm shift after paradigm shift, and it's a little bit uncomfortable, and I'm a little bit apprehensive about embracing this new change, because I don't have. How many of you have people around you that support you through transition? How many of you do? When you decide that you want to embrace a stronger, more daring person than you are at the moment, how many of you have somebody that you can talk to about that? That you can say, I've decided that I want to change my career. I want to do something totally different. I want to go and train to be a politician. How many of your friends around you would say, that's a fantastic idea, you'd be perfect for that, you've got all the skills and the ability? Or how many times do you voice your dreams out loud? How many of you voice your dreams out loud? I'm talking about the biggest dreams that you have. I don't think many, because when you voice something out loud, you put life to it. And when you put life to it, inevitably, that means change. And when you're committing to change, when you verbalise it, then you're committing to change, and that involves you having to say goodbye to the person that you used to be. And it is fantastic to embrace the new person that you are, but you don't know who that new person is. So there's apprehension going into the new person that you become, saying goodbye to the person that you knew. That's really brave. But what I want to tell you is, I know it might seem really challenging and really quite scary and really apprehensive. What I want to tell you is, you are never given more than you can handle, ever, 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 ever. And if it feels like it's more of a challenge than what you can handle, it's because you're not looking inside yourself and being able to tune into the resources that you have. And that's why I think life coaches or any kind of therapy is so powerful, because people are much better able to see your resources than what you are. I worked with a young lady this week, and she came to me and she asked me if I'd help her fill out a job application. She said, I don't think I've got all the skills. I said, I know you've got all the skills. Oh, she went, all right. So what we did, I didn't want to tell her the answers because that's not helpful to her. What I did was I looked at the job description and I asked her questions. When have you ever had to adapt yourself to different environments and talk to lots of different people about one subject and clearly voice your opinion to them. And she said, oh, I work in, and she told me lots of different answers. And I said, when we got to the bottom, I said, you've answered every single one of those questions. And you've not only answered, you've given me a really good example of how you've done that. So you're overqualified for this job. And she was shocked, because we don't look at ourselves that way. You are always equipped to do more than what you actually think you can do. And that is what is so powerful about working with somebody that is trained to see what you can't see. And I'm going to give you another example of that. And it's a very powerful example. I was working with a young boy just in the last month. And due to his fear of a really big transition that he was going through, you won't believe me when I tell you, this young boy lost the use of his legs. He actually lost the use of his legs. His crippling fear of what was coming that he wasn't confident about, it shut him down, and he wasn't able to use his legs. And in 3 sessions of working with this boy, I reflected back to him who he was, when he's achieved this before, when he's made magnificent transitions like this before, and all the skills that he used to do it. And I have to say, this young boy didn't actually want to be shown these things. He was really resistant. He's very, very clever, and he's very clever with words. And he came back time and time again. Yeah, but what if this? Yeah, but what if that? Yeah, but what if that? He was out to make me wrong, because he wanted to stay right. He wanted to stay without the use of legs. He didn't want to go and do this big transition. But I answered every one of his questions, and I reflected it back to him, and he was dumbfounded. So much so, he was sitting over there, so much so that when we'd finished our session, I said to him, come on, it's time to go. And I went over there and I walked over to him. Do you know what? He stood up and he walked out of this room. He walked straight out to the car. I carried on talking. I pretended I hadn't noticed. We got to the step and I said to him, mind the step? And he went, oh, yeah. We were talking. I was really engaged him in conversation. We got to the car and I said, did you realise you've just walked all the way to the car? He looked at me as if, oh, you've tricked me. Yeah, I did trick him. I tricked him with focusing on what he's really good at. That's how I tricked him. And it was a magnificent triumph for this boy. And he went home, and I didn't hear from the family for a week. And I rang the family, and I asked for an update on what was going on. And Dad said to me, oh yeah, it's been a really busy week. I think it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back. I said, how so? He said, well, he's actually been going to school this week. He's been to school 3 days this week. And and he's been walking the whole time. I said, whoa, stop. Let's go back. He's walking. He's walking. He's been to school. These are things that he wasn't doing when I first started. How are you just running over that so quickly? And Dad said, yeah, I know, but I'm a little bit perplexed because something happened and he stopped walking again. I said, you know what? I said, Dad, you have to give credit where credit's due. He's done something so amazing. And, you really have glossed over it, because I know it's what you want for him, but he doesn't feel as capable and able. So you really have to recognise what he's done. And moreover, this is the harshest bit. I said, are you still doing anything with your son? Is he having counselling or anything else? And the parent said to me, no, we stopped everything. And I had to say to him, when you were training, when you were learning to drive, you remember when you were learning to drive? By lesson 3, I think pretty much all of us by lesson 3 have sat in the car, we've done all the things, we know how to use the mirrors, and we've all driven, right? Yes, I think so. Now, imagine if I said to you at lesson 3, okay, look, you can drive, you know how to use the clutch, you know how to use the mirrors, windows, you can do it all, I'll see you later. And I jumped out of the car and left you. And that's exactly how it is with a child. They may be able to display all the competencies of being able to do that massive change, that massive transition, but they still need support through the process. Because if they didn't, they would have done it themselves. They are just not aware that they have the resources and the skills to be able to, because they have it inside them. He wouldn't have walked out of here if he couldn't. He had it, but he didn't recognise it. And so I say to everybody that's watching this evening, you have all the abilities and skills that you need to make this transition to the person that you want to become. You have it all inside you. You have massive greatness. You have massive potential inside of you to be whatever you want to be. You just need to be able to tap into the resources to recognise what skill goes with what. It's just like a puzzle. What bit do I need now to go with that bit? And once you've done it once and you've done it again and again and again, you'll have everything that you need. And the wonderful thing about transition and change is, I sound a bit Star Wars here, but you can never unlearn what you have learned. And so you will never, ever be in this situation again. So the fantastic thing about change is that change is permanent. So if you permanently want happiness, joy, and being more than comfortable, then you have to put the time into it. And when I was talking to my friend about this, because I was actually quite emotional this week when I was telling her about, I've noticed how much I've changed in myself. And she was like, oh, Annie, don't be upset. You've done amazing things. I said, I'm not upset. I'm just really emotional because I realise how much I've challenged myself and I didn't think I could do it, and I've done it. I'm emotional for recognising my own power. I'm pleased with myself. But I said, you know, I don't underestimate the fact that, you know, you can only do a little bit of change at a time, especially if you don't have people around you that you can talk this change through, these transitions through, because otherwise you start being introspective and thinking, I didn't do that very well, I didn't handle that, oh my gosh, I'm being really emotional about it, or perhaps I should stop if I'm being this. Yeah, you start doing all that negative self-talk, and that's just not helpful. You need to talk to people about your change. You need to mourn, and that's what it is. When you talk with your friends, you speak out the words and you mourn for the person that you've left behind, because the truth of the matter is you're never going to be that person again. You've actually embarked on being the next phase of you. Isn't that amazing to know that there are so many new versions of you still yet to come? There are so many new versions of you, and the more that you embrace them, the more rapidly they become, and they never stop coming. And there is time to be comfortable, because the more you do it, the more that you'll recognise your flow. And they call it the flow of being, of just being, when you just effortlessly glide through these transitions and become a chameleon of just embracing joyful transition, joyful change after joyful change, and it becomes a lot easier. But the first step that you take are going to be a bit unstable. And I have known with clients of mine who have experienced huge transition in one go and have had to go back into their shell, that have said to me, I can't do it, because they're not used to feeling those butterflies, that level of uncomfortability, because you have to get that first of all, because you're experiencing something new. But then that settles into elation and just feeling amazing and feeling so proud of yourself. Yeah, it's a process. It is a process. And all I can liken it to is a roller coaster. And that's why, you know, Ant and Dec, it's a roller coaster ride. That's a bit of a rubbish accent. But, you know, they always say that because, first of all, you get the butterflies, you get the feeling of fear in your stomach. You don't know what's coming next. You feel a little bit sick. You know, that it's coming. You're going up and up and up. You don't know what's coming over the other side. You're apprehensive. And even at some point, I'm sure if you've been on a roller coaster, you'll say, stop, I just want to get off. I just want to get off. That's like life, isn't it? When you're going through change, I just want to stop this. I want to go back to what I know, what was normal. And then you go up and then you go over. And that first moment, and that is for me where I think I am now, that first moment of going over and you start going down very, very fast, and the breath is almost taken out of you. And you almost like, oh my, there's actually no feeling to describe that point of where you go over, because it's not something we experience every day. But oh my gosh, let's say about 5 seconds after that feeling of I can't put a name to, all of a sudden it's just like whoosh, and you're just in wow, isn't it? It's just a wow, so elated. Every part of you is tingling. Everything is sharp. Colours are sharp. Every part of you is alive, and that's change. Would you forego that wonderful feeling afterwards because of those butterflies before? Everybody has that choice, and a lot of people can't take the ascension. Excuse me, I bought water this evening. Lots of people can't take the ascension, and they certainly wouldn't what's the word? Exchange the ascension for the wow afterwards. And I think that's really, really sad. I think there's a lot of people whose lives are limited by their lack of, it's not ambition, it's just resilience and bravery. It is brave. It's brave to be vulnerable. I come on here sometimes, and the other day I told you I was openly crying, and I did say I'm not going to be apologetic for it. And there might be people that say, you know, you're really, I don't even know why I said that. I don't actually care what other people think. I do this because I think that when someone else puts words to how you feel, it really gives you power to know, you know what, she did it, and she's just explained everything that I'm feeling, and she's assured me that on the other side of that, because she's clearly done it, she's explained exactly how I've been feeling up until now, because I'm going to be doing something new. She's explained it, and she's told me the other side of it. That's why I do this, and it's really important. And I say to all my parents, especially my parents that have children, I say, please share your stories, because there are so many parents out there that are just not brave enough to do what you've done. And when you allow your child to tell their story, you allow 20 other children to get the support they need. When you tell your story of how I overcome alcohol addiction, how I overcame feeling frigid, how I overcame being abused by my boyfriend, how I managed to get more confidence, when you start sharing all of those stories, you allow 20 other people to tell their story. So we've got a bit of a short one tonight. I haven't seen any. We've got some lovely people here, but no one's talking to Annie. Why is no one talking to Annie this evening? So maybe I need to throw some questions out there. The questions that I'm going to throw at you are, do you feel extremely comfortable in your life? But do you also have an inner voice that is nudging you to do something that you're ignoring, that you know is there? Maybe you've heard it once, bless you. Maybe you've heard it a couple of times and you've just ignored it. I'd love to hear. You don't have to share what the nagging is, but I'd love to hear, how are you managing that little voice inside you? I'm just interested. Are you speaking to partners? Are you speaking to friends? Are you getting the support that you need? Do you have people around you that are lifting you, that are telling you, you can do that? You are more than capable of that. Oh my gosh, if you did that, that would be everything that I knew you were going to be. Do you have people around you like that? It's very important that you do. That little voice that you hear, how many times have you ignored it before? Maybe you're at a stage today where for the very first time, you're going to listen to that voice and you're going to go forward. And you now know that on the other side of that roller coaster is wow. And I can't even underestimate when I say the wow. This year has been such exponential growth, and the opportunities that I've been offered, even now as we speak, and there's some things that I can't even share with you because they're not here yet, but they are coming, and you will see them coming because I will share them with you. They wouldn't have been possible if I ignored that little voice. And you know, I am brave. I feel quite vulnerable out here sometimes. You know, I feel that I'm the only one doing what I'm doing. I see a lot of transformational speakers, all of the people that I know that are in the speaker circuit. There's a big circuit, and they all talk about success and, you know, I'm going to give you 10 tips, or sorry, I'm going to give you 5 tips to be successful. I'm going to tell you 4 ways that you can overcome every single obstacle in your life and you can be amazing. I'm going to give you 3 tips on how I did it in 3 minutes because I'm super fantastic. And you get barraged with a lot of these amazing people and you think, God, I can't do that. They're all amazing. They're not all amazing. It's a secret. They're not all amazing. But what they only want to share with you is, I'm there. And I don't think that's helpful. I think what's more helpful is, tell me what skills you used, tell me what strategies I can use so that I can make my own journey to get where you are. You know, it's not helpful for you to tell me the easy bits, because I'm not being funny. The easy bits are really obvious. I'm going to tell you the hard bits. The hard, ways to deal with change and progress and vulnerability and tears and crying for the person that you're leaving behind. How did I get over it? I come on here and I talk and I get really, really lovely feedback, like my lovely lady there who's just said, you are truly an inspiration, which is what I do hope to be. And I'm very grateful for the comments, because when I become vulnerable, and sometimes I might shed a tear or two, if someone says to me, oh, you're truly inspirational, then I know, oh, it's worth it, because that's all I want to be, is worth it. That's all I want to be, is valuable to the people that I'm serving, because that's the whole purpose of me being here. So I don't want you to think that I'm on a pedestal and I'm this person that never had. Yeah, I have the same problems as you. The thing is, I find action plans to get over them. And I've been doing life coaching now for a very, very long time. I did it in every single one of my jobs. I just didn't realise I was doing it. You will probably do it in your jobs. You just don't realise that you're doing it. You're probably people that are giving people and you just want to learn how to give more. So you're already life coaches. It's just about what you can do for yourself, because sometimes we're so busy giving out of our empty cup that we don't actually fill ourselves up. And this journey is also about you. So let's see if we've got any more super comments. No more lovely comments. So I might have a little short one tonight, but I think I'm going to see every single one of these beautiful ladies. Beautiful. Thank you so much, my lovely Freddie and my lovely Max. And I am so looking forward to seeing you on the 10th of November. Oh, I've got a little exclusive to share with you. On the 10th of November at the True Little Awards, my children are coming and they're going to be supermodels on the catwalk. Yeah, there's going to be a catwalk there, and they've both been asked to walk the runway. I'm absolutely shocked as to why no one asked me. I did volunteer. In fact, I said I'll do it in front of instead of them, but unfortunately I was turned down. I don't know why that was. But yeah, we are all Wonder Women, every single one of us. And when we recognise our true strength and our true power, that is when we become unstoppable. That is when we become immortal and amazing. And that is when we become the very, very best beacons of faith, hope and inspiration to our children. And that's what makes the fantastic children that we have. So, you know, if you're getting lots of comments, like I constantly get comments about my, oh, they're so polite, they're so kind. I may not see it at home all the time, but I do get those comments all the time. And I know I pat myself on the back, because they didn't get born like that. That's what they've learned from being around me and making sure that they're in the right environment. So I'm not shy, I pat myself on the back. And I did say the other day, if there is some traits that you see in your children that you're not particularly liking, then I'm afraid it's time to look in the mirror, because children, we are our children's role model. And that's why it's very important that we both recognise that we are super women and that we are amazing, and that we congratulate ourselves for being super and amazing, because when we recognise our strengths, then our children recognise them too. They recognise it in themselves, because they can only recognise what they see. So that's me for this evening. Thank you. Thank you so much, Alexa, for tuning in. Thank you, Sarah, for tuning in. And thank you, Faye, for tuning in. It's been a quiet one this evening. I think there must be something amazing going on somewhere that maybe I didn't get invited to. But I don't mind, because, you know, I always say this, the people that listen are the people that are going to appreciate the message the most. So I'm really glad that I've had time to spend with everybody that's watching this evening, and school in the morning. So have a nice relaxing evening, a nice cuddle on the sofa with the ones that you love. And I know for a fact that everyone who's on this, yes, Alexa, absolutely true. Absolutely true. You can feel it in the air, can't you? You can feel it in every fibre of your being. You can't ignore that voice anymore. Absolutely. Cuddle up with the ones you love this evening, and really, really enjoy and be blessed. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Harry, I love you all. You know I do. I love that picture that I put up on my Facebook page. It's just fantastic. I'm a little bit jealous now because you've all got lovely little ones. I'm gonna get my big ones down and I'm gonna make them cuddle me on the sofa. Yeah, they're hiding. But Ben, I can't wait to see Ben. Ben says he doesn't like Ben 10. He's really not into Ben 10, but he doesn't need to Ben 10. He can just be Ben 1 million to me, because Ben is one of my superstars in here. Marcia, you've come in, look at you, late. I'm really not impressed. What were you doing, Marcia? Were you having dinner? Did you save me some? Are you getting ready for tomorrow evening? Ladies, we have a superstar in our presence. We have Miss Lady Marcia. I'm going to tell you now, ladies, she's really quite naughty. You know, usually when I do my Facebook Lives, I'm very prim, I'm very proper, I'm very, very ladylike. But this lady, she's up in my right-hand corner. Her name is Marcia Lorraine Finn. I did write it down as Queen the other day, and she said, oh, no, Quinn. I wrote Quinn. She went, oh, you spelt my name wrong, but I don't mind being a Queen. I said to her, it's because it's as close as I can get to Queen. She is a Queen. She's so sassy. Honestly, have you seen her picture on my Facebook page, the advert? I'm gonna do the super post. Marcia, this is for you. She's kind of doing this, and it's so sassy, and I love it. I love a sassy lady. I've got all sassy ladies on it. So that's at 8 p.m. tomorrow. You've seen the reserved, ladylike version of me this evening. Tomorrow you will be seeing the sassy, saucy, salacious. No more S's. Well, there probably are, but I probably am not allowed to use them. Marcia, no, I'll tell you what, I really shouldn't G us up anymore, because we are naughty enough. But you know, thank you, lovely ladies. It's been such a pleasure, and honestly, you all really make me smile from really in my heart all the way up and out of my mouth, because you're all just wonderfully unique and gorgeous. And I hope you've been told that today. Every single one of you, super, super gorgeous from the inside out and the outside in, and all the way around the world and back again. And you know this. And Matthew, I hope you tell her often. Ben, you're my super wonderful gorgeous. You certainly are. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you next week. So ladies, gents, no gents. Get your children, get on the sofa, get your cuddle on, have a hot chocolate. Kids, say to mum, Auntie Anne-Marie said we can have marshmallows in our hot chocolate. Yeah, I said so. Yeah, it's Sunday. Come on. All right. So have a wonderful evening and spread the love. Give the hugs. Sorry, I had to laugh. Listen, Freddie, all right? I know you was ready from early on, but I don't do the voice every time, because I want everybody to see me. You see me? This is a new thing. I don't tell anybody else. You see me? Just me and you, yes? You ask. I will get put away if you make me do those things on camera. Yes, but just for you. I can't help it. All right. Good night, everybody. Have a lovely evening. See you all soon.